AfroSeoul Tales. Presence. A cinematic Afro-Korean saga of danger, burning desire, and unforgivable betrayal. She entered his mansion as a maid, but she wasn't there to clean. She was there to expose the truth that destroyed her family. What she didn't expect was him. Naomi didn't see the first punch coming, she only heard it. A loud crack split the air behind her as two guards slammed a struggling delivery man against the iron fence of the Kong estate. His crate hit the ground, oranges rolling in every direction. The guards barked in Korean, demanding an ID he didn't have. Tension flared, voices rising. "Yeah, move or I'll break your arm," the man cried out, terrified. Naomi stepped forward without thinking. "Stop." Her voice cut through the chaos, sharp and commanding. The guards froze. Even the delivery man paused, shock replacing fear. Naomi moved quickly, putting herself between them. "He's not a threat. Let him speak." One guard narrowed his eyes. "Who are you to interfere?" "Just a maid. A new one. Someone who was supposed to stay quiet, stay hidden, stay small." But Naomi didn't move. "He's scared," she said firmly. "Not dangerous. Let him breathe." The guard opened his mouth to snap back. A car door clicked open. Everyone froze. Kong Ji-won stepped out of the black sedan, adjusting his cufflinks with cold precision. His presence sucked the air out of the courtyard. Tall, sharp-featured, expression unreadable, he looked like a storm carved into a man. The guards instantly bowed, dragging the delivery man down with them. Everyone bowed. Except her. Ji-won's gaze cut through the courtyard, landing directly on Naomi. She felt the weight of it, heavy, focused, unsettling. Then he looked at the guards. "What happened?" he asked quietly. They spoke quickly, explaining the situation. Ji-won's eyes flicked back to Naomi. "And you intervened. Why?" Naomi didn't flinch. "Because you were about to hurt an innocent man." A few gasps came from the maids waiting at the door. No one spoke to the air like that. Ji-won took a step closer. "Do you work here?" "Starting today," she said. "Then learn something quickly." His voice dropped lower. "My guards act because they're trained. You speak because you're not." Naomi didn't blink. Trained or not, they were wrong. A dangerous silence filled the courtyard. The guard stiffened. Even the delivery man seemed to want to disappear. Ji-won studied her fully now, as if memorizing every line of her face. "What is your name?" "Naomi." "And you believe you can decide what's right inside my home?" "I believe in stopping unnecessary harm," she replied. Ji-won exhaled slowly, as if he'd just discovered something amusing and irritating. "You're either very brave or very stupid." Naomi stepped aside and helped the trembling delivery man gather the oranges. "Or maybe I'm neither. Maybe I just don't like bullies." The guard stiffened, but Ji-won raised a hand to silence them. "Let him inside," Ji-won ordered. "Search his crate properly. If he checks out, let him go." The guards obeyed immediately. Ji-won's eyes never left Naomi. "Follow Min-seo. She'll show you where you belong." The way he said it held double meaning, like he was promising she'd learn her place, or he'd make her. Naomi only nodded. Min-seo, the head housekeeper, grabbed her by the wrist. "Are you mad?" she whispered harshly in English. "You want to get killed on your first day?" "I just couldn't watch them hurt him," Naomi said softly. Min-seo sighed. "This house is not like other houses. And the heir is not a man you challenge. You're lucky he didn't snap." They reached the grand foyer. Marble floors. Massive chandelier. Guards at every door. Min-seo leaned closer. "Listen carefully. In this mansion, you avoid confrontation. Especially with him." "I didn't confront him," Naomi replied. "I spoke." "And that is the problem," Min-seo hissed. Before she could say more, Ji-won entered the mansion behind them. Every maid dropped into immediate bows. Except Naomi. Again. Ji-won stopped at the bottom of the staircase. His gaze slid to her like a blade. "You didn't bow." Naomi met his eyes steadily. "I only bow to who I respect." Several maids swallowed audibly. One crossed herself like she'd just witnessed her own funeral. Ji-won's jaw shifted. Not anger. Not shock. Interest. A dangerous kind of interest. Min-seo, he said without looking away from Naomi. Put her on inspection duty. Min-seo gasped. Inspection? Sir, that's... Do it. Min-seo lowered her head. Yes, young master. After Ji-won walked off, Naomi whispered, What's inspection duty? Min-seo's face went pale. It means you clean his private wing. Alone. And if he finds one mistake, one speck of dust, one thing out of order, your contract ends. Immediately. They won't even let you pack. Naomi's stomach tightened, but her face stayed calm. Then I'll do it right. It's not just cleaning. Min-seo grabbed her shoulders. It's a test. One he gives to people he wants to intimidate or break. Naomi's eyes softened. He won't break me. Min-seo stepped back slowly. You say that now. But you don't know who he is. But Naomi did know. She knew exactly what kind of man Kang Ji-won was. She'd researched him before coming to Korea. The Kang Syndicate. Seoul's most feared crime family. The heirs were raised on violence. Rumors said Ji-won once broke a man's ribs using only his knee. Another rumor said he didn't tolerate lies. Another said he hated foreigners. If he hated foreigners, he'd hate her presence most of all. Yet she walked toward the private wing with her chin up. She had survived worse men, worse dangers. And she wasn't here to bow. She was here because she had no choice. Inside the private wing, she found Ji-won already there, watching her. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed. You didn't ask permission to enter. I was told to clean. So you enter my private space without asking? Isn't that what cleaners do? She replied. His lips twitched, amused despite himself. Tell me something, Naomi. Are you always this bold, or did you choose to waste all your courage on me today? She looked at him, calm. If this is me wasting it, you haven't seen anything yet. A slow, dark smile touched his mouth. She went to the shelf and reached for a feather duster. Ji-won stepped behind her, close enough for her to feel his breath. You're not afraid of me, he said quietly.
No. Why?
Naomi faced him fully. Fear gives people power. I don't give mine away. He stared at her long enough to make her pulse thrum. Then he stepped back. Good, he said. You'll need that spine. She frowned. Why? Ji-won opened his phone, swiped through something, then held it out. A blurry photo of her boarding a flight to Korea. She froze. How did you? Don't underestimate me. His voice was soft but sharp. People don't come here by accident, especially people who pretend to be maids. Her heart hammered. He knew. He didn't know everything, but he knew enough to be dangerous. Clean, he said finally. And don't keep secrets from me. I always find them. He left her there, hands trembling for the first time all day. Because Naomi knew, if he dug deeper, if he ever uncovered the truth, he would destroy her. Naomi's hands trembled only after Ji-won disappeared down the hallway. She stood alone in the silent private wing, staring at the faint reflection of herself in the polished cabinet glass. Her chest rose and fell too quickly, the weight of what he'd shown her pressing heavily, like a warning. He had a photo of her arriving in Korea. That wasn't easy to get. That meant surveillance. That meant he cared enough to check. Or he was suspicious from the start.
Why?
She hadn't done anything yet. Naomi inhaled deeply, steadied her shaking fingers, and forced herself to start cleaning. If she stopped now, the fear would swallow her. And she had not crossed an ocean, emptied her savings, and lied her way into the Kang estate to freeze at the first sign of danger. She dusted the shelves slowly, her mind racing. He knows something, but he doesn't know enough. She repeated the line in her mind like a shield. She had erased so much of her trail. She had practiced her cover story 100 times. She had learned the routines, the language, the expectations of Korean household service. She had even changed her name on the documents. But Ji-won's eyes chilled her more than the photograph. He looked like a man who would enjoy pulling secrets out of people.
Slowly. ruthlessly.
As she moved to arrange the books on his shelf, her hand brushed something thin and hard. A file. It had been tucked between two thick encyclopedias. Not very hidden, but not openly placed either. She hesitated. Curiosity was dangerous here. But something pulled her. She slid it out quietly and opened it. Her breath halted. Inside were surveillance photos of different people. Meetings. Documents. Transactions. Names connected to crimes. Evidence. She had walked straight into a viper's nest. She snapped the file shut. A voice behind her made her jump. "You touch what doesn't belong to you." Ji-won stood in the doorway. Naomi felt her pulse spike so violently, she felt it in her ears. She didn't turn around immediately. She needed 1 second to keep her face steady. Then she faced him with the file in her hands. "I was rearranging the books," she said calmly. "This fell out." Ji-won held her gaze for 5 long seconds. His eyes moved to the file, then back to her, searching for cracks. "Give it to me," he said. She handed it over slowly. Ji-won walked closer, his presence overwhelming as he placed the file back in its place with unsettling ease. Her breath was caught between fear and stubborn resolve. He didn't step back. "You are too curious," he said quietly. Naomi swallowed. "Books need arranging." "I arranged them." He tilted his head slightly, studying her as if she were a puzzle piece he wasn't sure belonged anywhere. "Most people tremble in this room," he said. "Their hands shake. Their legs weaken. Some even cry." He leaned closer, his voice low. "But you stand here like you're not inside the most dangerous part of the house." "I was told to clean," she replied, ignoring the cold in her voice. Ji-won's lips curved slightly, like he admired her restraint, or wanted to break it. "Then clean," he said. He walked past her and sat on the couch, scrolling through his phone. He didn't leave. He simply watched her from the corner of his eye as she cleaned. Her heart felt like a drum trapped inside her chest, pounding against her ribs. But she didn't let it show. Minutes passed. Then Ji-won spoke again. "Why are you here, Naomi?" She kept dusting the table, forcing her voice to remain steady. "I needed a job. There are many jobs in Seoul. You came into this house. Someone recommended it." "What someone?" "A friend." "What friend?" She stopped. Ji-won smiled without looking up.
"See?
Lies have weight. They slow your answers." Her jaw tightened. "I didn't come here to have my life examined," she said. "And I didn't hire you," he replied coolly. "So, I don't owe you comfort." Their eyes locked again. Something electric in the air tightened. Naomi returned to dusting the table, but Ji-won stood suddenly and walked behind her. She felt the cold shadow of him move against her back. "You shouldn't lie to me." His voice was a whisper now. "I'm very good at finding truth." He was too close. Naomi stepped to the side, creating space. "And I'm very good at cleaning."
"Which is my job."
"Sir." The sir was sharp.
He caught it.
Of course he did. For the first time, Ji-won laughed. Quietly but real. "You're interesting," he said. "Annoying but interesting." That concerned her more than his suspicion. He walked toward the door. "I'll be back in 20 minutes, he added. "If this room isn't perfect, I'll assume you came into this house with a purpose." And then he looked over his shoulder. "I'll pull the truth out of you myself." He left. Naomi exhaled harshly, gripping the table's edge until her knuckles turned white. She had 20 minutes to make the room flawless.
And 20 minutes to think.
She cleaned with rapid precision, fighting the panic rising in her throat.
The file.
The surveillance photos. Him catching her touching it. His questions.
He was too aware.
Too observant. Too dangerous. But Naomi wasn't easily broken. By the time Ji-won returned, the room was spotless. Not a single thing was out of place. Ji-won ran a finger along the shelf. No dust. He inspected the coffee table. Perfect shine. He moved to the windows.
Clear.
Then he turned to her. "Good," he said. She exhaled. Then he added, "But not good enough." Her heart sank. "What else?" "The books," he said. She frowned. "They're arranged by size, as they were." "Exactly," Ji-won said. And I don't arrange mine by size. I arrange them by topic. She blinked. How was I supposed to know that? You weren't. He leaned slightly toward her. But if you want to work in my wing, you learn. She bit her lip. So you're firing me? No, he crossed his arms. I'm training you. She stared at him, confused.
Why?
You barely know me. Ji-won's gaze deepened, unreadable. That's exactly why. I don't know who you are. And, until I figure it out, I'm keeping you close. A chill traveled down her spine. Keeping her close was much more dangerous than firing her. He walked past her, leaving the scent of his cologne in the air. You'll start your real duty tomorrow, he said. And what duty is that? She asked. He stopped at the door. You'll be my personal maid. Naomi froze. No, she said immediately. Ji-won slowly turned around. No. Find someone else. His expression shifted, not angry but intrigued. You're refusing me? He asked. Yes. Ji-won took a step back toward her, his voice low and dark. This house's rules, he said. And rule number 1 is simple. He stopped right in front of her. Too close. Too intense. No one refuses me. Naomi met his stare without blinking. Then maybe today is your first time. Silence. Then Ji-won whispered, We'll see how long that courage lasts. He left the room, and this time, she wasn't relieved. Because she had just challenged the most powerful man she had ever met. And he wasn't going to let it go. Naomi barely slept that night. She lay awake in the tiny attic room reserved for junior staff, the cold air seeping through the cracked window as she stared at the ceiling. Her mind kept replaying Ji-won's voice. You'll be my personal maid. No one refuses me. I'm keeping you close. She turned over again, frustrated, dragging the blanket higher. Every instinct in her screamed that being near him was dangerous. But refusing him again could paint a target on her back, and she already had too many secrets to protect. A soft knock pulled her from her thoughts. At 5 a.m., only one person knocked like that. She opened the door, and Eun-ji stood there, the head housekeeper, face scrunched in irritation and worry at the same time. You're wanted, Eun-ji said. By who? You know who. She sighed. He told me to wake you. Now hurry. He's not patient. Naomi swallowed her annoyance and followed her down the long corridor. They passed the grand staircase, the silent chandeliers, and the family photos that didn't match the darkness she'd seen in Ji-won's eyes. Eun-ji pulled her into the staff changing room. Listen to me, she whispered urgently. Working directly under him, it's not easy. He's intense. Naomi finished. Dangerous, Naomi. He destroys people without raising his voice. Eun-ji grabbed her hand tightly. You're new. You don't know the rules. Just don't challenge him. Naomi forced a small smile. I don't plan to. But alcohol had more chance of turning to water than her turning obedient. Eun-ji wasn't convinced. He's unpredictable. If he tests you, be careful. Don't. Before she could finish, a deep voice echoed from the doorway. Are you done giving her warnings? Eun-ji flinched and stepped aside immediately. Ji-won stood there, dressed in a black shirt and tailored trousers that did nothing to soften the aura around him. His gaze moved slowly, from Eun-ji to Naomi. Follow me, he said. He didn't wait. He simply turned and walked away. Naomi followed, ignoring the rapid beating in her chest. He led her to his private dining hall, far smaller than the grand room meant for the family, but still larger than any dining room she'd ever seen. Breakfast was already laid out. Kimchi, porridge, perfectly toasted bread, fruit arranged with mathematical precision. Ji-won sat and gestured to the seat beside him. She blinked. I don't sit. You do today. I'm not. He didn't look up as he cut into his toast. Didn't we discuss refusing me? Her jaw tightened. She sat. Good, he said. There was a faint curl of satisfaction at the corner of his mouth, and she hated that he noticed her discomfort. What exactly is my job? She asked, trying to regain control. His eyes lifted. To manage my mornings. I don't understand. You will. He snapped his fingers once. A guard appeared instantly, placing a tablet in front of her. "Read a schedule," the guard said before disappearing again. She scrolled. Meetings.
Calls.
Training sessions. Surveillance checks. A lunch with an ambassador's son. Another meeting with someone whose name she recognized from the classified file she'd seen. She looked up. This isn't the normal schedule. I'm not a normal man. He drank his coffee slowly, watching her think. When you say personal maid, she said, you mean assistant?
No.
Secretary.
No.
Bodyguard.
He smirked.
You?
No.
She glared. Then what? Ji-won leaned back. You manage the things others can't. You'll learn my routines, my preferences, my habits. That sounds like a butler, she said dryly. When needed. I'm not doing that. You are. She inhaled sharply. Why me? You have 10 people who can do this. None of them talk back, he replied calmly. None of them look me in the eye. None of them intrigue me. Her heart skipped. She hated that word.
Intrigue.
She needed distance, not attention. Ji-won tapped his fingers once on the table. Stand. She stood. He rose as well and walked toward her until she felt the heat of his presence again. Turn around, he said.
No.
He chuckled softly. Relax. I'm not touching you. She didn't move. He stepped around her instead, walking in a slow circle, studying her posture, her stance, the tension in her shoulders. You stand like someone trained, he murmured. She stiffened. Where did you grow up? Different places. That's not an answer. It's the one I'm giving. He exhaled, smiling faintly. You're trouble. And you're nosy. His eyebrows lifted at her boldness. No maid spoke to him this way. Not even relatives, business partners, or rivals had the nerve. He returned to his seat. Your first task, he said, is to follow me everywhere today. She blinked. Everywhere. Yes. What for? To learn. And if I don't want to? Ji-won sipped his coffee and answered without looking at her. Then you can leave this house in 2 ways. Through the gate or through a stretcher. The silence turned brutal. Naomi clenched her fists but nodded once. Fine. Good. He stood abruptly. Let's go. They walked through the hallway, his guards trailing discreetly behind. Naomi tried to keep a calm expression, but her mind spun. Why did he want her near him? Why make her his shadow overnight? What did he think she knew? They reached the elevator to the underground parking level. As the doors opened, she stepped inside, but the guard beside them suddenly blocked her with an arm. Sir, the guard said. There's an issue downstairs. Ji-won raised an eyebrow. What kind of issue? The guard hesitated. Your brother. Ji-won's expression changed instantly, darkening, sharpening, hardening at the edges like something dangerous had been touched. What about him? He's making a scene? Ji-won inhaled, through his nose slowly. Of course he is. Bring him to me. Sir, he...
Now.
The guard nodded and rushed downstairs. Naomi stepped back as Ji-won stormed forward, the elevator forgotten. His pace was fast, focused. She had to jog to keep up. They descended the stairs into the brightly lit underground garage. The moment they entered, she heard shouting. A man, young, tall, glowing blonde hair like Ji-won's but with a wild, reckless chaos in his voice, was swinging at one of the guards. You think you can stop me? He yelled. Ji-won's presentation of calm slipped away. The air around him changed. Jamin, he barked. The blonde man stopped mid-swing and turned sharply. His eyes widened. Oh, Hyung, he said with a drunken grin. You're awake. Ji-won walked toward him slowly. Jamin stumbled back. Don't look at me like that. What did you do? Ji-won demanded. Jamin smirked. What I always do. Ji-won's voice dropped. What did you do? Jamin pointed at Naomi. And who is she? Another one of your toys. Ji-won didn't even look at her. Watch your mouth. Jamin laughed loudly. I knew it. I knew you'd pick someone pretty again. You always pretend you're different. Ji-won grabbed him by the collar so fast Naomi flinched. Say one more word, Ji-won whispered, and I'll break your jaw. Jamin swallowed hard. Ji-won released him, eyes burning. Naomi watched them carefully. Family tension, violent tension, dangerous tension. And she had just stepped into the middle of it. Put him in the car, Ji-won said to the guards. He stays in the secondary house until I'm done. Jaemin protested loudly as guards dragged him away.
Hyung.
You can't keep hiding me. Ji-won didn't look at him. He only turned to Naomi. We're leaving. Her heart was still racing. Is he always like this? She asked. Ji-won didn't answer as the elevator opened and they stepped inside. Only when the doors closed did he speak. He's my younger brother, he said quietly. And he's the reason I can't trust anyone. His reflection in the elevator glass looked colder than ever. The elevator dinged. And the day was only beginning. The elevator opened into the private basement reserved only for Ji-won's inner circle. Naomi stepped out first, scanning the unfamiliar environment instinctively. Even though she wasn't a bodyguard, her senses sharpened whenever danger lurked nearby, and in this house, danger was everywhere. Ji-won walked ahead without slowing. Stay close, he said. Naomi followed, matching his pace. As they moved down the corridor, she felt him watching her reflection in the glass panels they passed. The silence between them was thick. What happened to your brother? She finally asked. Her voice was soft, but not timid. Ji-won's jaw flexed. He was born trusting the wrong people. And you weren't. He paused in his steps.
No.
I learned early that trust is a weakness. They reached a metal door. Ji-won scanned his fingerprint, and the lock disengaged with a heavy click. Inside was a surveillance control room. Screens covering every wall, guards seated in rows, multiple feeds displaying different corners of the Kong estate. Naomi's stomach tightened. This was not a house. This was a fortress. Ji-won entered like a king entering his throne room. Every guard straightened instantly. Report, he ordered. A tall man approached. We tracked the group tailing the younger master. They were paid to follow him last night. Who paid them? We're still tracing. Ji-won nodded once, eyes narrowing. Increase security on the east wing. Move the snipers to the upper terraces. No one gets near this house. Yes, sir. Naomi watched him silently. The way he commanded a room, the way people responded, it wasn't respect. It was fear. Ji-won finally turned to her. Come. She followed him down a shorter hallway until they entered a secluded office. Dark walls, leather chairs, a desk covered in documents. He closed the door behind them. You're quiet, he said. I'm thinking. About what? She hesitated. Your brother, the people following him, the file in your room, this security center. Are you fighting someone? Ji-won exhaled sharply and sat on the edge of the desk. Everyone is fighting someone. I'm simply better prepared. That's not an answer. It's the one you're getting. She didn't look away. He noticed. You're too curious for a maid, he murmured. You're too secretive for a man who claims not to care. He stared at her for several seconds. Then, a small smile appeared. You're sharp. You're evasive. You challenge too easily. You hide too well. The air between them tightened, charged with unspoken tension. Ji-won leaned back, crossing his arms. Tell me something. Why did you really come to Korea? To work. That's your lie. She lifted her chin. Then, what's the truth? That you're running. Her breath caught. Why do you think that? Ji-won's eyes sharpened. Because you flinch when someone walks behind you. Because you listen to every footstep. Because the way you scan a room is not how a maid thinks. It's how someone with secrets thinks. Her heart pounded so loudly, she felt it in her fingertips. He wasn't guessing. He was observing. Dangerously well. And you ask too many questions, Ji-won added quietly. Which means you're either brave or stupid. I can't decide which yet. Maybe I'm just human, she whispered. No, his voice dropped. You're something else. And I don't like not knowing what. He moved closer, slow, deliberate steps until he stood directly in front of her. His presence felt like heat against her skin. Give me your phone, he said suddenly. Her stomach dropped.
No.
That wasn't a request. No, she repeated firmly. Ji-won's eyes darkened. What are you hiding on it? Nothing. Then give it to me.
Why?
To confirm your story. To see if you are who you say you are. Her pulse raced. She needed an excuse. A believable one.
It's personal, she said.
So am I, he replied. That's different. Not to me. She stepped back. You don't get to search my phone. I may be a maid, but I still have a right to privacy. Ji-won watched her quietly, his expression unreadable. You're the first person who's told me no twice in one morning, he said. And I'll make it 3 times if I have to. Silence stretched. Then a low laugh escaped him. You're going to be difficult. She crossed her arms. Then fire me. I would, he said, if I weren't so curious. He turned away, shutting down the confrontation entirely. The car is ready. We're leaving. Where are we going? She asked. To the city. For what? An appointment. With who? He glanced back at her. You ask too much. You answer too little. His lips curved, amused despite himself. Just walk. She followed him out of the office, though her nerves were still sparking like wires ready to burn. They exited through a side door into a lower parking garage filled with luxury vehicles. Ji-won walked straight to a black sedan. A driver opened the back door for him. Ji-won entered first, then he gestured for her to join him. She hesitated. Shouldn't I sit in front? No, his tone left no room for debate. You sit by me today. She got inside. The door closed. Silence wrapped around them. As the car pulled out, the city lights flickering in the distance, Naomi felt the tightness in her chest grow. Ji-won watched the passing streets. Unreadable. Do you like Korea so far? He asked suddenly. The question caught her off guard. It's different. From where you came from? Yes. Do you miss home? She looked out the window. Every day. Ji-won studied her profile. She felt it. He turned away before she caught him. Traffic grew denser as they entered the heart of Seoul. Towers rose like giants, their glass surfaces catching the morning sun. But before she could take in the view, Ji-won spoke again. When we arrive, he said, you will stay by my side. You don't speak unless I ask you to. You don't wander. You don't take calls. You don't leave my sight. Her brows furrowed. Why? Because we're meeting someone who would use you to get to me. A chill raced down her spine. Who? He looked at her then, slowly, intensely. The man who wants me dead. The car turned sharply, entering a secured underground entrance beneath a glass skyscraper. Naomi's breath caught. What had she stepped into? The car stopped. Guards opened the doors. Ji-won stepped out. Then he held out a hand to her. Not to guide, but to control. Stay close, he warned. She stepped out, ignoring his offered hand, but following his stride. At the end of the hallway, double doors opened automatically. Inside sat a man with silver hair and skin like frozen ice. His smile was slow, deadly. Ji-won Kong, the man said. I see you brought a companion. Ji-won's tone turned venomous. Say one word about her, and I end this meeting now. The man lifted his hands. Relax. I'm only observing. His eyes slid to Naomi. What's your name, darling? She doesn't answer you, Ji-won said firmly. The man chuckled. Possessive already? How interesting. Ji-won's jaw tightened. Naomi stood silently beside him, heart pounding so hard she felt faint. The man leaned forward. Did you bring her because you trust her? Ji-won didn't blink. I brought her because I don't trust you. The man smiled wider. Then today will be very entertaining. The silver-haired man's amusement sent a cold ripple through Naomi's chest. He sat with the relaxed posture of someone confident enough to be careless, yet the room around him was painfully tense. 2 bodyguards flanked him, hands near their coats where weapons were clearly hidden. The one didn't sit. He placed one hand on the back of the empty chair in front of him and stared the older man down with an intensity that made the air feel electrified. Talk, Ji-won said sharply. The man smirked. No greeting? No pleasantries? I raised you better. Naomi blinked. Raised? Her eyes darted between them. The resemblance wasn't obvious, but the familiarity in their tone, She could feel history simmering beneath every word. Ji-won's voice hardened. You didn't raise me. You used me. And you turned out magnificent, the man replied, spreading his hands in mock pride. Look at you now. The Kong Empire's coldest weapon. Ji-won's fingers curled around the chair, the leather creaking under the pressure. Say what you brought me here to say. The man chuckled and finally leaned back. Let's skip the family therapy. I called you here because you have a problem, Ji-won. Ji-won tilted his head. And you think I need you to handle it? You will when you hear what it is. Naomi stayed silent, her heart thundering in her chest. Ji-won's arms subtly shifted in front of her, a protective instinct he probably didn't even realize he had. The gesture made something warm flicker inside her before she quickly smothered it. The silver-haired man snapped his fingers once. His guard placed a folder on the table and slid it toward Ji-won. Ji-won didn't touch it. The man smirked. Open it.
No.
Then I will, he said, flipping it open himself. Naomi's breath hitched. Inside were photos. Of Ji-won. Of Jaemin. Of the Kong estate. And her. Her walking out of the market. Her wiping a window in the hallway. Her sitting alone on the staff stairwell her second night here. Even a blurry photo of her entering Korea at the airport. Ji-won stiffened. Naomi's stomach dropped so hard she almost swayed. How did you get these? Ji-won demanded. Come now, the man sighed. Don't insult me. You may be the sharpest Kong, but you're not the only one who knows how to watch. Ji-won moved closer, voice razor-edged. If you've touched a hair on her. Oh, relax, the man said. She's clearly not important to you. Not yet, anyway. Ji-won's expression sharpened with a warning Naomi knew could turn deadly. The man chuckled. She's interesting, though. Foreign. Confident. And bold enough to walk beside you like she belongs there. His eyes drifted to her again, slow and assessing. So tell me, young lady, he purred, what exactly are you to him? Ji-won answered before she could breathe. She's nothing to you. Is that so? The man murmured. He turned a page. Naomi felt cold all over. The photos inside weren't random. They were arranged like a story. Her arrival. Her patterns. Where she slept. Where she cleaned. Times she walked alone. Times she spoke to other staff. Someone had tracked her every move. Ji-won reached out, snatched the folder, and shut it with a violent snap. That is enough, he hissed. The man leaned back, satisfied. You're getting sloppy, Ji-won. You let someone with no background near you. You didn't run a full check. You didn't verify her papers properly. You didn't ask the right questions. Naomi felt her throat constrict. Ji-won's voice was like steel. Her background is clean. Because you didn't dig, the man said. But I did. Naomi's heart froze. Ji-won's gaze snapped to her face, searching, questioning. For the first time, he looked unsure. The man continued casually, as if commenting on the weather. Your maid arrived in Korea, with almost nothing. No connections. No verifiable school records. No register relatives. A name that appears only recently in immigration logs. A backstory that is, let's say, loose. Ji-won's jaw tightened. Leave her out of this. But she's already in it, the man smiled.
Deeply.
Whether you admit it or not. He folded his hands neatly. Someone with her level of caution isn't just a girl looking for work. She's hiding something. The room felt like it was shrinking. Ji-won said nothing, but his stare pinned Naomi like a spotlight. The silver-haired man continued, voice dripping with satisfaction. And you, Ji-won, have grown soft. Ji-won's entire body tensed. Watch your mouth. You're letting people in, the man said. People who don't belong. People who will betray you. His tone dropped sharply, every word slicing through the air. Just like your mother did. Naomi felt the shock hit Ji-won like a blade. His breath stalled. His face emptied into something cold and dangerous. Get up, Ji-won whispered. The man chuckled. Struck a nerve, did I?
Get
up. You forget who you're talking to. Ji-won didn't wait. He lunged. Chairs toppled. Guards rushed in. Naomi stumbled back as Ji-won slammed the man against the wall, forearm pressed brutally against his throat. "You will never say her name again," Ji-won growled. The man choked out a laugh. "There he is, the real Ji-won." Guards moved toward them. "Stand down," Ji-won roared. They froze instantly. The silver-haired man wheezed, gripping Ji-won's shoulder. "I'm helping you, boy. Someone is leaking information from inside your home. Someone planted a maid with no past. Someone wants you paranoid." Ji-won tightened his grip. "If you touch her again." "I didn't touch her," the man rasped. "Someone else is watching her. Not me." Ji-won's grip loosened, confusion flashing briefly.
What?
The man coughed, trying to regain air. "I tracked the person tracking her. They're not mine." A deadly silence fell. Ji-won slowly stepped back. The man leaned heavily on the wall, catching his breath. "You should be protecting her, Ji-won. Because I guarantee you someone else is very interested in the girl you brought into your home." Ji-won turned sharply to Naomi. His eyes searched her. Hard, fast, desperate. "What are you hiding?" he demanded. His voice wasn't cold now. It was shaking with fury. Naomi felt the ground tilt under her feet. The walls seemed to close in. The moment she had feared since arriving in Korea was now crashing down on her. She tried. But the man interrupted. "Before she answers," he said calmly, straightening his jacket, "you should know something else." Ji-won snapped. "What now?" The man smirked. "The person watching your little maid isn't after her." Ji-won's eyes narrowed. "Who then?" The man's smile widened. "You." Naomi gasped. Ji-won's face went blank. The man lifted a single photo from the folder, a grainy shot of Ji-won entering a building. A crosshair centered on his chest. "And based on this," the man said softly, "whoever they are, they want you dead within the week." Ji-won stared at the image, eyes darkening like a storm descending. Naomi felt the room spin. Everything was unraveling, and nothing would ever be the same again. For several seconds, Ji-won didn't move. He stared at the photo, at the crosshair centered on his own chest, as if trying to pull the truth out of the ink. The room was so silent Naomi heard only the thudding pulse in her own ears. Finally, Ji-won looked up, voice chillingly controlled. "Who took this picture?" The silver-haired man shrugged lazily. "Unknown. But they're precise, professional, and close." Naomi felt a shiver crawl down her spine. "Close." Ji-won's fists clenched. "Why tell me now?" Ji-won asked. "Because," the man replied smoothly, "if someone kills you, the Kong Empire falls into Jaemin's hands. And that," he added with a disgusted sigh, "would be a tragedy." Ji-won's jaw flexed. "You don't care who runs the empire. I care when stupidity destroys legacy." "Spare me." The man smirked. "I am sparing you. I'm giving you a chance to stay alive." Ji-won's fury simmered like fire under glass. Naomi could feel it, even from across the room. The silver-haired man leaned back in his chair. "Someone inside is feeding them information. Someone close." Ji-won's gaze flicked toward the guards, then to the door, then, uncomfortably, to Naomi. Her heart lurched. "No," she said instantly, shaking her head. "Don't look at me like that. I didn't." "You're the only variable," Ji-won said quietly. The words hit like a slap. Her chest tightened. "I've done nothing but work. And my house hasn't had problems until you arrived. That's not fair. Fairness is irrelevant." Her hands curled into fists. "Then fire me," she said, breath shaking. "If you think I'm here to hurt you, fire me." Ji-won stepped closer, voice dropping. "I said you're a variable. I didn't say I believed he's right." "Then what are you saying?" "I'm saying," Ji-won replied tightly, "that nothing about you makes sense." Naomi's throat tightened. The silver-haired man chuckled.
"Careful, boy.
"You're letting her under your skin." Ji-won turned on him sharply. "Stay out of this." But the man only kept smiling. "Then answer my question, Ji-won. If she's not a threat, why keep her so close?" Ji-won stiffened. "Because I choose who stays by my side. Even when they hide things from you?" Ji-won's eyes flicked to Naomi again. Her breath hitched. Enough, Ji-won snapped. But the damage had been done. The seed of doubt had been planted. The man stood, straightening his jacket. I've delivered my message. Do what you want with it. Ji-won said nothing. The man stepped forward, lowering his voice. But remember something. Fear doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from the people you trust. He walked past Ji-won, pausing only to send Naomi a slow, unsettling smile. Good luck, darling, he whispered. Ji-won moved so fast Naomi didn't see the motion. He grabbed the man's arm and shoved him toward his guards. Get out, Ji-won spat. The man left with a smug grin, his guards trailing behind him. When the doors closed, the silence that followed was suffocating. Ji-won stood still for a long moment, breathing hard. He pressed his hands against the table, knuckles white. Naomi watched him carefully. June, don't, he said quietly. She swallowed. You don't actually think. I don't know what to think. The words were raw, vulnerable. He straightened, his expression hardening again. We're leaving. The walk back to the car was tense. Neither spoke. The guards trailing behind felt heavier than before, their presence sharp and watchful. Inside the car, Ji-won didn't look at her. He stared out the window, jaw tight, pupils narrowed with calculation. Naomi finally spoke, voice low. I'm not your enemy. I didn't say you were. But you're thinking it. Ji-won inhaled slowly. I'm thinking about survival. And you think I'm a threat to that? I think, Ji-won said quietly, still looking at the passing buildings, that I don't know who to trust anymore. The words stung more than she expected. Then ask me, she whispered. Ask what you want to know. You'll lie. You don't know that. Everyone lies. Then let me prove I'm not everyone. That finally made him turn to her. The way he looked at her, like he was seeing someone he didn't recognize, made her chest tighten painfully. Then tell me one truth, he murmured. Just one. She looked back at him, heart racing. Why did you come to Korea? Naomi hesitated. Just one truth. One small truth. But every truth led to bigger ones, to secrets she couldn't reveal, secrets tied to why she came here, what she was looking for, and who she was running from. Ji-won watched the battle on her face. See, he said softly. You can't say it. That doesn't mean I'm lying, she whispered. It means you're hiding something. Everyone hides something. Not from me. Her voice sharpened. Then why are you hiding things? Ji-won froze. She pressed on, breath shaking. Your surveillance room. The security. Those files. Your brother's mess. The people following him. The man we just met. Someone trying to kill you. Ji-won's eyes darkened. You haven't told me anything either, she said. You want the truth, but won't give any. He leaned closer, voice low. Because my truth can kill people. So can mine. His breath stilled. Silence wrapped around them again, crackling. Ji-won finally leaned back. Then we're both dangerous. Then maybe we shouldn't be near each other, she said softly. Ji-won looked at her slowly, almost painfully. No, he whispered. That's exactly why we should. The car stopped abruptly. Ji-won opened his door. Get out. Naomi blinked. What? We're here. She stepped out and realized where they were. The Kong estate. But not the main entrance. The back courtyard. The quiet side. The dangerous side. Ji-won walked ahead, not waiting for her. She followed him through the stone path into the private garden, empty and silent. He stopped under a pavilion. For a long moment he said nothing. Then, someone inside my family is feeding information to my enemies. Naomi stiffened. Ji-won continued, voice low. They knew exactly where I was, who I met. They even knew about Jaemin's mess. His gaze darkened. And they know about you. Her heart raced.
Why?
You're not just anything, he snapped. You walked into my house at the exact moment my enemies resurfaced. You challenged me at the exact same time someone is watching me. You act like someone who expects danger. And now, he paused, voice tightening. Now someone is using you against me. Naomi swallowed. I didn't plan any of this, she whispered. Ji-won studied her expression carefully. And for the first time since they met, he looked afraid. Not of her. For her. Someone wants you dead, he said quietly. Not because of who you are, but because of what you are to me. Her breath caught. I'm nothing to you, she whispered. Ji-won stepped closer. Not anymore. Naomi's stomach twisted. This was too much. Too fast. Too dangerous. Ji-won exhaled shakily. I need you to tell me the truth. Because if you don't, I can't protect you. She stepped back. I didn't ask for your protection. I'm not giving you a choice. Their eyes locked. Neither looked away. Then, a sharp crack split the air. Naomi flinched. Ji-won turned violently, instincts firing. Glass shattered behind them. A bullet embedded itself in the pavilion pillar inches from Naomi's head. Ji-won grabbed her instantly, yanking her behind him as guards screamed through their earpieces. Sniper. Another shot fired, and Ji-won pushed Naomi to the ground a split second before the bullet sliced through the air where her chest had been. Stay down, he barked. But Naomi wasn't the target. The third shot proved it. It was aimed directly at Ji-won. And it missed by only an inch. Chaos exploded across the courtyard in seconds. Guards swarmed from every direction, guns drawn, shouting into radios. Ji-won grabbed Naomi by the wrist and pulled her behind the stone column as another bullet cracked through the air, shattering a lantern above them. Stay behind me, he shouted. I'm not the one they're shooting at, she yelled back. That doesn't matter. Another bullet hit the stone near his shoulder, sending dust into the air. He pushed her lower to the ground, shielding her with his body. Where's the shooter? One guard shouted. North roof. High-caliber rifle. Do not let him escape. Ji-won grabbed Naomi's chin, forcing her eyes to his. Listen to me. Do not move unless I say so. I can help. You'll help by staying alive, he snapped. She almost argued, but the look in his eyes stopped her. It wasn't anger. It was fear. Fear for her. Guards formed a barrier around them, moving swiftly. The sniper fired again, louder this time, closer. Two guards pushed them deeper behind the pavilion pillar. Ji-won's voice turned lethal. Move her to the east side. What about you, sir? I'll draw fire. Naomi's eyes widened. What? No. But Ji-won stepped out before she could grab him. Ji-won. He ignored her. He ran toward the open courtyard, zigzagging like he'd trained for ambushes his entire life, which he probably had. Two bullets hit the tiles near his feet. Get inside, Ji-won shouted. Naomi tried to run toward him instead. A guard caught her arm. No, ma'am. Let go, she begged. He'll get shot. He knows what he's doing. A fourth bullet whizzed past, grazing Ji-won's forearm. He hissed, clutching his arm briefly before forcing himself forward.
Blood.
Naomi felt her vision blur. He was bleeding. He was bleeding because of her. Ji-won reached the main wall, dove behind stone cover, and shouted into his radio. Cut off the north exit. Don't let the shooter leave. Guards ran in formation, sealing the exits. Naomi's heart hammered so violently she felt sick. She tried again to get past the guards, but they blocked her, forming a human shield. She needs to get inside, one yelled. No, Naomi shouted. I can't leave him. A fifth shot rang. Ji-won ducked, rolling to another point of cover. He moved with precision, instinct, deadly grace. But the sniper was determined. This wasn't a warning. This was an assassination. Ji-won rose slightly to signal the guards, and another bullet cut through the sleeve of his shirt. Ji-won, she screamed. Her voice echoed painfully across the courtyard. For a fraction of a second, he froze. He turned toward her, just enough for the sniper to adjust aim. Then Ji-won lunged sideways a split second before the next bullet hit the pillar where his head had been.
He was going to die.
Naomi felt her vision tunnel. She couldn't think, only react. She tore free from the guards and sprinted straight through the courtyard. Naomi, several voices shouted. Ji-won snapped his head toward her, eyes wide. No, but she didn't stop. She reached him just as another bullet fired. He grabbed her waist, yanking her down behind the stone wall with him. What the hell are you doing? he shouted, fury mixing with pure panic. You could have died, and you could have been killed running to me. I don't care. He froze. She froze. The words hung between them like lightning. For a heartbeat, neither breathed. Then Ji-won clenched his jaw, grabbing her shoulders. Don't ever risk yourself like that again. Don't tell me what to do. Then don't make me watch you die. Her lips parted. His eyes, dark, frantic, held hers like she was the only thing grounding him. Sir, a guard yelled. Shooters moving. North wall breached. Ji-won tore his gaze away from her and stood, ignoring the blood running down his arm. Secure her inside, he barked. No, Naomi started. But Ji-won turned sharply, gripping her chin. Look at me, he said. Stay inside. If something happens to you. His voice broke just slightly. Barely. But she heard it. If something happens to you, he finished, voice low and raw, I'll burn this entire city down. Naomi's breath caught. Before she could answer, guards pulled her back. Ji-won sprinted toward the breach. Naomi was dragged indoors, her voice shaking. Be careful. Ji-won didn't turn around, but his hand lifted slightly in acknowledgement before he disappeared around the corner. Inside the hallway, 2 guards stayed beside her. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, a shout echoed through the house. Shooter secured. Target alive. Naomi nearly collapsed against the wall, tears burning her eyes. Her hands shook uncontrollably. A guard stepped forward. Ma'am, please remain here. The heir will want to speak to you once he returns. She nodded numbly. After what felt like another eternity, footsteps approached. Heavy. Controlled. Familiar. Ji-won appeared in the doorway. His sleeve was torn. His arm was bandaged. His breathing was uneven. But he was alive. Naomi ran to him before she could think. He caught her automatically, hands gripping her waist, pulling her close. Neither spoke. She pressed her forehead to his chest, trembling. His arms tightened around her, too tightly, like he feared she'd vanish if he let go. After a long moment, Ji-won finally whispered, voice hoarse. Don't ever run into gunfire again. And don't ever be the one getting shot at, she choked. He gave a strained, humorless laugh. Can't promise that. She pulled back slightly, her eyes searching the bandage on his arm. Are you okay? It's nothing. It's not nothing, Jin. He cupped her face gently. Are you okay? He interrupted. Her breath stilled. She nodded. He exhaled as if he'd been holding his breath since the bullet first fired. Then his expression changed. Darkened. Hardened. Naomi, he said quietly, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. I need to know something. She swallowed. What? Are they after you or after me? Her chest tightened. I don't know. Ji-won searched her eyes, trying to see the truth inside them. Tell me, he whispered. Because if they're after me, I know how to fight that. But if they're after you, his jaw clenched. I can't protect you from what I can't see. Her pulse pounded. Her throat closed. She opened her mouth to answer. But a guard appeared behind them, voice urgent. Sir, we found something on the sniper. Ji-won turned slightly. What? The guard glanced at Naomi, hesitant. Ji-won's eyes snapped. Say it. The guard swallowed. He had her picture in his pocket. Naomi's blood froze. Ji-won's face went blank. Then slowly, dangerously, he turned back to her. His voice was almost a whisper. Why does a man trying to kill me have a picture of you? The room tilted. Her pulse roared. And, in that moment, Naomi knew. The truth she'd been running from was no longer a distant fear. It had finally caught up to her. Naomi's lips parted, but no sound came out. The hallway seemed to shrink around her. The walls, the guards, Ji-won's face, everything blurred at the edges. A picture. Ji-won repeated, voice deadly calm. On the man who tried to kill me. The guard shifted, nervous. Sir, we can bring it. Show me. The guard rushed off. Ji-won didn't take his eyes off Naomi. Her pulse roared like a river in flood. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but her legs wouldn't move. Her secrets, once carefully buried, now felt like they were clawing their way to the surface. The guard came back holding a small plastic bag. Inside was a crumpled photo. Ji-won snatched it. He stared. It was Naomi, standing outside a rundown building, the hostel she'd stayed in her first week in Seoul. The angle was from across the street, taken without her knowledge. His jaw clenched. "Explain this," he said quietly. She swallowed. "I can't." "You won't." Her eyes burned. "It doesn't matter what I say. You've already decided." "I haven't decided anything," he snapped. "I'm asking you to tell me the truth. One truth. Just one." Her throat tightened. "And what if you hate me for it?" He stared at her, something raw flickering in his eyes. "I already hate not knowing." The words hit harder than any bullet. He stepped closer, holding the photo between them like evidence. "Who is watching you?" he demanded. "Who wants you close to me? Are you working with them?" "No," she cried, the word bursting out of her. "I would never work with people who kill for sport." "Then who are you running from?" Silence. "Naomi." She closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, something had shifted in her gaze, tired, resigned, like a prisoner stepping onto the witness stand. "Take me somewhere private," she whispered. "If I tell you, I don't want an audience." Ji-won hesitated. Then he gestured to the guards. "No one follows." "Sir, that's not." "I said no one." The guards stepped back reluctantly. Ji-won grabbed Naomi's hand, not gently but not cruelly either, and pulled her through the hallways, up a narrow staircase, and into a small office adjacent to his private wing. He shut the door behind them with a heavy click and locked it. They stood facing each other, breathing hard. "Talk," he said. She looked at him, really looked at him, as if deciding whether he could handle what came next. "My name isn't really Naomi," she began softly. His shoulders tensed. "It's part of my name. My mother gave it to me. But my full name is Naomi Chidinma Okaforkalu." He said nothing. "I grew up in Lagos," she continued. "My father, he worked in shipping, imports and exports. Or at least that's what he told us." Ji-won's eyes narrowed. "One night," she said, voice trembling slightly, "men came to our house. Not government officials. Not regular thieves. Men with guns. Expensive boots. They spoke Nigerian pidgin and Korean." Ji-won's blood ran cold. Naomi swallowed. "They wanted my father," she said. "They said he'd made a deal and tried to back out. That he had something they wanted, a shipment list, a route, a contract, I don't know." Her fingers curled into her palms. He argued. "They dragged him outside. My mother screamed. I tried to get between them, and one of them hit me. Hard." She touched the faint scar near her temple. I blacked out. Ji-won's throat worked as he quietly asked, "What happened when you woke up?" "The house was on fire," she whispered. "My mother was gone. My father was gone. Everyone was gone." The silence that followed was heavy. "I crawled out through the back," she said. "I don't know how long I was unconscious before someone found me. They said her house was just gone. No witnesses. No case." Ji-won felt like there was glass lodged in his chest. "Years later," Naomi continued, "I found things my father had hidden. Bank records. Offshore accounts. Transactions written partly in English, partly in Korean. Names of companies I didn't recognize. But one thing kept repeating." She looked straight into his eyes. "The Kong name." Ji-won froze. "The Kong Syndicate," she said. "Shipments passing through Lagos. Guns. Money. Drugs. Weapons leaving scars on countries you'd never seen." His hands curled into fists against his sides. "I realized my father wasn't just a shipping man," she said quietly. "He was a middleman. And the night he died, it was because he wanted out." Ji-won's heart pounded so hard it felt like it might crack his ribs. "So I started digging," Naomi went on. "And every trail led back here. To Korea. To this family. To you." "To me," he whispered. "You," she said. "The heir. The one who would inherit the network. The one who would keep the cycle going." He flinched. "I came here to find the proof," she said. "To know for sure. To see if the Kong name was on my parents' death certificate. even if it wasn't written there. His voice was barely audible. You came here to destroy me. She hesitated. No, she whispered. I came here to destroy whoever deserved it. He stared at her, stunned. Silence pressed in between them. So yes, she continued, I lied about why I came. I lied to get into this house. I lied to get close enough to see who you really were. But I am not working with whoever wants you dead. I have enough pain without borrowing theirs. Ji-won's gaze was a storm. Say I believe you, he said slowly. Why didn't you leave when you saw what my world was? Because leaving never changed anything, she shot back. It didn't bring my parents back. It didn't erase the men with guns. It didn't stop girls like me from growing up in neighborhoods where your guns and money caused nightmares. Her eyes shone now, but no tears fell. And then I met you, she said. His breath stalled. You were cold, she admitted. Arrogant. Dangerous. Everything I expected. Charming, he muttered bitterly. But then I saw you with your brother. With that man today. With your guards. With me. She swallowed. You don't enjoy the pain. You carry it. You carry everyone's mistakes like they're yours to fix. He looked away, jaw clenched. I started to understand something, she whispered. You weren't born a monster. You were raised in a cage. His eyes flashed. Don't romanticize me. I'm not, she said. I'm saying, I didn't find the simple villain I came here looking for. Her voice dropped. And that complicated everything. He stared at the floor, chest rising and falling, the weight of her words pressing like an invisible hand on his throat. So that's my truth, she said. I came here to uncover what your family did to mine. I came here hating the Kong name. And now, he asked roughly. Her answer was almost a whisper. Now I don't know what to do with you. The admission hit harder than any accusation. He looked up slowly. You think my family is responsible for your parents? I think your world is, she said. Whether you personally pulled the trigger or not. He took a long, shuddering breath. I didn't know, he said. About Lagos. About your father. About any of it. Does that make it hurt less? She asked softly.
No.
They stood in silence. The air between them was suffocating. Finally, Ji-won spoke again. You should leave. Her heart clenched.
What?
You came here for revenge, he said quietly. You found complicating evidence. You risked your life. Someone is hunting you because of me. That's enough. He walked to the door, unlocked it. You'll get money. A flight. A new identity. You'll disappear somewhere they can't find you. She stared at him, stunned. You're letting me go? She whispered. Yes. Her voice shook. And what about you? He hesitated. I'll deal with whoever wants me dead, he said. That's my life. Not yours. Something fragile in her chest cracked. You think I can just walk away? She choked. After everything? After Lagos? After all this? Yes, he said. Because I'd rather hate you from a distance than watch you die in front of me. She sucked in a breath like she'd been punched. What if I don't want to leave? She whispered. He looked at her sharply. You don't belong in this war, Naomi. Maybe I do, she said. Maybe I was born into it the day your family did what they did. His hands curled into fists. I am trying to give you a way out. I don't want out if it means walking away from unfinished justice, she said. Or from you. His composure cracked. Naomi, he said, voice raw. If you stay, they will use you. They will torture you. They will hurt you just to watch me break. She stepped forward. And if I go, they might still find me. But then I'll be alone. Their eyes locked. Breath mingled. Time slowed. I'm not leaving, she whispered. His jaw flexed painfully. You're making a mistake. Then it's mine to make. He looked at her like he wanted to shake her and kiss her and lock her in a safe all at once. Before he could answer, a frantic banging rattled the door. Sir, a guard's voice. You need to see this, right now. Ji-won swore under his breath and opened the door. What? The guard's face was white. It's your brother, sir, he said. The secondary house. Ji-won's heart seized. What about it? The guard swallowed. It's on fire. Ji-won didn't wait for explanations. He grabbed Naomi's arm and sprinted down the hallway with her. Ji-won, your arm, she gasped. Forget my arm, he barked. That's my brother in there. They burst through the back entrance, guards rushing around them in chaotic formation. Smoke rose in the distance, thick, black, and violent, curling upward from the secondary house like a warning from hell itself. Ji-won's breath tore out of him. No, 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 no. A guard yelled. Sir, the fire teams are already. Move, Ji-won shouted, shoving past them. He didn't wait for a car, he just ran. Naomi kept pace beside him, her lungs burning, but she didn't slow. She stayed right at his side, ignoring the shouts behind them. The heat intensified as they neared the smaller building behind the estate. Flames clawed out of shattered windows. The roof collapsed inward with a groaning roar. J-man, Ji-won screamed. Naomi had never heard his voice break like that. 2 guards held him back. Sir, you can't go inside. I said, let me go.
Sir.
The structure is unstable. I don't care. He tore free and ran toward the burning doorway. Naomi sprinted after him. Ji-won, stop.
He didn't.
He plunged into the smoke-filled hallway. The heat slapped her face, forcing her back, coughing. Ji-won. Inside, Ji-won stumbled through debris and flames, eyes watering, scanning desperately. Jamin, he choked out. Answer me. A weak groan came from deeper inside. Ji-won dashed toward it. Through the haze, he saw his brother collapsed on the floor, coughing violently, half-conscious, pinned under a fallen beam. Hyung, Jamin wheezed. I couldn't get out. Ji-won grabbed the beam with both hands, ignoring the fire scorching his skin.
Hold on.
Don't you dare let go. Jamin whimpered. Hyung, I'm sorry. Shut up. Ji-won snapped through gritted teeth. Save your breath. You're not dying today. Ji-won lifted with every ounce of strength in him. His muscles tore. His burned arm screamed. But he pulled. Hard. The beam shifted. Jamin cried out as Ji-won dragged him free. Suddenly, a figure rushed in, Naomi, wrapping Ji-won's arm around her shoulders as she helped lift his brother. You shouldn't be in here. Ji-won shouted hoarsely. I'm not leaving without you, she shouted back. The ceiling groaned. A flaming beam crashed down in front of them, exploding sparks across the hall. This way. Naomi yelled, pulling them toward a side exit. Ji-won stumbled, half carrying Jamin. Smoke swallowed them whole. The world narrowed to heat, fire, ash. Another beam fell. Ji-won shoved Naomi and Jamin forward, shielding them with his own body as debris crashed behind him. Hyung, Jamin choked. Keep moving, Ji-won rasped, his voice weakening. Naomi dragged them both, coughing violently as she burst through the side door, collapsing onto the grass with Ji-won and Jamin falling beside her. Guards rushed in, grabbing Jamin and carrying him toward medics. Naomi rolled to her knees, gasping for air, her eyes burning. Ji-won didn't move. Ji-won, she said, voice shaking. He lay on his side, bleeding, coughing, barely conscious. Ji-won. She grabbed him. Stay with me, look at me. He blinked, eyes unfocused. You followed me into a burning house. And I'd do it again, she snapped, tears streaking down her soot-covered face. Don't you dare pass out on me. His gaze softened in a way that broke her completely. You're insane, he whispered. So are you. He gave a weak laugh and then went limp. Jae-won. Medics rushed in, pushing her aside as they checked his pulse. It's weak, get him on a stretcher. No, she whispered, shaking. No, no, no. They carried him away, shouting orders. Naomi tried to follow, but guards blocked her path. Ma'am, you need to step back. He needs me. You need to step back, the guard repeated firmly. She froze in place, trembling, watching helplessly as Ji-won disappeared behind a wall of medics. Her heart felt like it had cracked in half. Hours later, the estate was in chaos. Jamin was stable. The fire was contained. The shooter was in custody. But Ji-won, he'd lost a dangerous amount of blood. Burns covered his arm and shoulder. He hadn't woken up. Naomi sat alone in a quiet hallway outside his private medical room, elbows on her knees, face buried in her hands. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the sniper's crosshair. On him. On her. Interchangeable. Connected. Footsteps approached. She looked up to see an older woman, elegant, cold, Madame Kong. Ji-won's mother. Her eyes, sharp and cold as winter steel, scanned Naomi slowly. "You're the foreign maid," Madame Kong said. Naomi swallowed. "Yes." Madame Kong stared at the medical room door. "My son nearly died today." Naomi lowered her eyes. "I know." Madame Kong stepped closer, her voice dropping into a blade-like whisper. "And trouble began the moment you arrived." The accusation hit like a physical blow. Madame Kong leaned in. "I don't know what you are, or why you're here. But listen carefully. I will not let you drag my son into your chaos." Naomi felt her throat tighten. "I didn't drag him into anything. You brought danger into this house." "No," Naomi whispered. "Danger brought me here." Madame Kong narrowed her eyes. Before she could respond, the door opened, and a medic stepped out. "He's awake now," he said. Naomi stood so fast she nearly stumbled. Madame Kong raised a hand sharply. "Not you." Naomi froze. "He does not need more complications," Madame Kong said coldly. Then, behind the medic, a hoarse voice called, "Let her in." Madame Kong stiffened. Ji-won was awake, and asking for her. Madame Kong slowly turned, face hardening, jaw tightening, but she stepped aside. Naomi moved past her breathlessly. She slipped into the dim room. Ji-won lay with bandages across his arm and chest, eyes half open, breathing shallow. But when he saw her, he smiled weakly. "Hey," he whispered. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "You scared me." "You scare me," he murmured. "Running into fire after me." She laughed shakily. "I guess we're even." He reached for her hand. She immediately laced her fingers with his. He looked into her eyes, searching, needing something. "Before I blacked out," he whispered, "I heard you say you wouldn't leave." "I meant it," she replied. "Even after everything you came here to expose?" "Yes." "Even knowing how dangerous it gets?" "Yes." "Even if it kills us both?" he asked softly. She hesitated, then nodded. "Yes." His eyes softened, then darkened with something heavier. "I need you to hear me too," he said. "The person hunting me, hunting you, burning houses, sending snipers." He swallowed. "It's someone inside this family." Naomi froze. "What?" "Someone close," he said. "Someone with access. With motives. With rage I didn't see coming." "Who?" Ji-won looked at her, pain and guilt twisting in his expression. "I thought it was you," he said. "For a moment, I actually thought it was you." "It wasn't," she whispered. "I know," he breathed. "Because it's worse than that." Her heart pounded. "Tell me." Ji-won closed his eyes, gathering strength. Then he looked straight into her soul. "It was Jamin," he whispered. "My own brother. He put a target on my back." Naomi's breath vanished. "He hates me for inheriting everything," Ji-won said brokenly. "He hates the pressure, the comparisons, the expectations. But the betrayal," his voice cracked. "I didn't see it coming." Naomi covered her mouth, horrified. "Ji-won, I'm so sorry." He shook his head. "Don't be. I should have seen it." She squeezed his hand tighter. "What do we do now?" she whispered. He stared at her as if memorizing her face. "We find the truth," he said. "Together." Her heart thudded violently. "And after that?" she asked. Something unreadable flickered in his eyes. "After that," he said slowly, "everything changes." She didn't know what he meant, but she felt it. The shift, the danger, the promise, the uncertainty. And yet, she didn't look away. She met it with him. Their fingers remained interlocked as the room hummed with quiet possibility. The story wasn't ending. It was beginning. A new war, a deeper truth, a darker betrayal, and a connection neither of them had expected or knew how to escape. Outside the window, Smoke curled into the night sky, carrying with it the weight of everything that had burned. But inside the room, something fragile and fierce refused to die. Something like hope. Something like danger. Something like love trying to grow in a battlefield. Ji-won exhaled slowly, staring up at the ceiling. "Don't leave," he whispered again. Naomi rested her head gently beside his hand. "I'm here," she said softly. "I'm not going anywhere." And for the first time since the fire, Ji-won closed his eyes, not in pain, but in trust. A trust that could save them. Or destroy them completely. Only time would tell. You've just lived inside an AfroSeoul tale. Thank you for staying until the final heartbeat. Stories like this survive because you keep them alive. If this journey moved you, join the AfroSeoul family. Subscribe and tell me the moment you'll never forget.